In a story from Bounding into Comics, new report reveals Marvel Studios lost $300 million on Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the Marvels. Now, Quantumania wasn't so woke or anything like that, but Marvels, wow, did they make a big mistake with Brie Larson. Now, my friends, the culture is a-shifting. I must stress, and this is a story of optimism, and we get to whinge a little bit while we're at it. But Timcast IRL, as I've mentioned this quite a bit, and it's not so much just about me, it's about winning, really. Right now, as I'm recording this, the Tim Pool Morning Show is the #2 feature on YouTube Live. Yesterday, we were #1. Timcast IRL has been featured #1 consistently. And that is, when you go to YouTube Live, there's a video player, and it shows this show. I think what we're seeing now is that culturally, businesses can no longer tolerate wokeness destroying their bottom line. The American people have spoken. Disney lost $1 billion on their last several run of movies, and Marvel Studios lost $300 million in their last releases. They need to turn things around and get rid of the garbage activist writers if they want to survive. And I think they've learned this. There's a rumor going around, I'll pull this one up, that Kevin Feige, I don't know how to spell his name, fired a bunch of activists. Here we go. It's from August 7th. We have this from Inside. This is Inside the Magic. Marvel fires activist producers in preparation for MCU Back to Basics reboot. They go on to mention how basically after these huge failures, what do they say? Marvel was essentially purging producers who have pushed the MCU towards shameful wokeness, meaning characters who are not male or are people of color. No. Let's break this one down. Captain Marvel. It's a movie that came out and they made $1 billion. Let me pull this one up. It's called A False Signal, my friends. So the Marvel films are all deeply popular. Everybody loves them. And so they make this movie, Captain Marvel, with Brie Larson. It makes $1 billion. On a $175 million budget. And from there, they nuked themselves. Why? Captain Marvel didn't make $1 billion because people like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, the film, made $1 billion because all of the films before it were great. I mean, Doctor Strange, the first one of my favorite films. It's really great. Benedict Cumberbatch does a great job. And then, with Robert Downey Jr. as the lead for the MCU as Iron Man, largely popular, they had to bring him back. They brought him back as Dr. Doom. Oh, wow. They are desperate. Here's what happened. Brie Larson has this arc several years ago where they announced that they're going to make the Captain Marvel movie. It's going to be set in the past, a prequel, and it's effectively a phase 1 film. So it's like a character origin. And they wanted to establish this female Superman, I guess. They went stupid as stupid can be. And I know it's because of woke activists. So basically what happens is, let's take a look at the big three, they call them. That's Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. These movies set the pace for the MCU, which generated billions. These characters are deeply flawed. Iron Man, as Dallas Sanye of the Daily Wire and Bonfire Legend described, he was a man with power, but no heroism. Captain America. Steve Rogers was a man that was a hero already, but he had no power. And in these two movies, they show you this opposing view. Tony Stark, with all of this power, doesn't care until he faces the ramifications of what he has done, and he becomes a hero. Still kind of a dick, but we love him for it. Steve Rogers gets given the super soldier serum, turning him into a super soldier, but he was already a hero. That's why he was chosen. Now with this power, he's a good person. He does good things. Thor was an arrogant man, much like Tony Stark. And he had to learn to be a hero by having his power stripped away, much like Tony Stark. These make tons of money. So they launch Captain Marvel. And what does she do? In the movie, she's a dick. She steals from people. She accidentally receives power for no reason. And she was never a good person to begin with. She has a chip on her shoulder. And I don't get it. She robs a guy in the beginning. And the argument is, well, it's because she's not a good person and she has to become a better person. But she never does. The arc of Captain Marvel is she's a woman who accidentally gets blasted with an Infinity Stone, I guess, and an explosive reactor, which gives her superpowers, which we don't really get. I mean, she's just basically the strongest being imaginable with no weaknesses whatsoever, no faults. Not kidding. And in the movie, she doesn't learn a lesson. The only thing that changes is that there is a man suppressing her powers, and she overcomes this and defeats him. She doesn't become a better person. She doesn't do much of anything other than overcoming a man. What was the lesson learned? What was gained? From there, it has been apocalyptic. They wanted Brie Larson to be the new Tony Stark, to replace Robert Downey Jr. when he leaves the MCU because he can't do it forever. And boy, did that fail miserably. One of the worst imaginable moments. I mean, you know what, man? I am so sad about Endgame. Let's talk about how they're losing money. And again, we're getting in the weeds here and a little nerdy, but bear with me on this one. For those that are fans or pay attention to stuff, you'll get it. Infinity War, in my opinion, the Avengers movie that was the culmination of all of these great movies they made. It was awesome. And there's no Captain Marvel. Endgame introduces Captain Marvel into the greater MCU, and it is cringe. First of all, Brie Larson was snooty, overly woke feminist, and did not know how to endear herself to the public, and people hated her. They just did not like her. You make a video saying Brie Larson's mean, and you got 1 million views. Then, what do? So at the beginning of Endgame, and I'm so disappointed in this, Tony Stark and Nebula are in a spaceship that is broken down. What did we want to see? We knew from the trailer something was going to happen, and what did we want to see? Tony Stark, we wanted to see the end cap. In Iron Man, which kicked everything off, Tony Stark is trapped in this cage, or in this cave. He's got a bunch of garbage, and he builds the prototype Iron Man suit. With a box of scraps, he's able to build a miniaturized arc reactor. That is the genius of Tony Stark. What did we want to see? We wanted to see, stranded in space, on the verge of death, knowing that survival was on the line, he pulled something off one last time. And this was going to be the heroic end of Robert Downey Jr.'s arc. What should have happened is he should have started working on something with Nebula, utilizing some technology that Nebula had as being a robot. Tony Stark builds a device, a miniaturized arc reactor inside this ship, which provides a burst of power that sends him home. Instead, Brie Larson shows up and just carries him thousands of light years or whatever. Then you get the fight at the end where Brie Larson is fighting Thanos, and Thanos headbutts her, and she doesn't flinch. And it's like, wow, look how strong she is. Cringe. Then you have the moment where all the women are like, she's not alone, and they all start walking together, and the whole theater groaned when I was there. This is why you lose money. It's trash. But the reality is, with these activist producers who come in and are heavily focused on wokeness, it is very simple. If a company begins to favor ideology over meritocracy, they will suffer. The content will become garbage. People will not buy the garbage product, and you will lose lots and lots of money, as they have done. So the only thing that Kevin Feige could do is fire everybody. And you see how they try and frame this here? That means characters who are not male or people of color. Shut up. That is not the case. The problem is Brie Larson is an unlikable actress and person. It's a sad but true. She is a dainty, small, thin and frail woman. The guys for all of these, okay, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. He doesn't need to get ripped, but he is still, to a degree, fit-ish. He's not overweight. Chris Evans got ripped for the role. Hemsworth also got ripped for the role. Banner doesn't need to. We are talking about Tony Stark. What is his power? None. He built a suit of armor. Bruce Banner, the Hulk is ripped. We use CGI. Captain Marvel is supposed to be the Superman of the MCU. That's what they claimed. So she's supposed to be strong looking, not a 100-pound soaking wet female. I mean, no disrespect to Brie Larson, but she was the wrong casting choice. Robin Wright would have been way better. Either way, deciding to do this feminist girl boss arc with no real character development is cringe, and it failed. And they lose all this money. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the ramifications, in my opinion, of people who are bad at their jobs, not knowing how to maintain what was built. That's what you get. You hire young activists who have no idea how to do things, and they burn it all to the ground. So, by all means, get woke and go broke. I can simplify it like this. Take a look at this meme. People in the MCU, 2008. Wow, a rich billionaire in a flying metal suit. 2024, gods are real, aliens are real, the multiverse is breaking, half the universe was dead for 5 years, the earth is an egg, and they're just like, ugh. The MCU totally lost the plot. And it's because It's not just about wokeness. It's about a lack of oversight. I blame Kevin Feige for this. I think wokeness seeping in and ruining a lot of this is because he failed to have oversight over his studio and their projects. I'm a big fan of the movies that he's made. The MCU through the 2000s, the 2010s was really great. And now it's just wonky garbage. Nothing makes sense anymore. I was watching Winter Soldier last night, and it's just a political thriller. A little over the top, but a political thriller. S.H.I.E.L.D. is infiltrated by Hydra, and I'm like, this doesn't really affect the greater universe. Infinity War went nuts. All of a sudden, all the characters from all over are crossing over. Humans realize the aliens are here. That was Avengers. They did that. Robert Downey Jr. talking to Rocket Raccoon was hilarious. But they needed to bring things back down to size. They needed more street-level superhero stuff. And it can be higher level than that, like Captain America fighting Hydra or whatever. Now, everything is the multiverse is exploding and a giant arm is exploding from Earth. And it's like, you're nuts. The end credit scenes are unrelated and crazy. Nothing makes sense. So I will say this, a victim of their own success. But I think it's fair to point out that a large portion of their failure is to do with bringing on young ideologues who wanted girl bosses and feminism. They got the movie The Marvels, and it was a bomb. Captain Marvel, $1 billion. But let's take a look at the sequel. Let's see what the sequel made, because they're saying it lost money. So let's scroll down this stupid Wikipedia page. Oh, what an awful film. And you know, like Captain Marvel is just not a good movie. It's just not good. And I think they've got reception. What do they say? They say it made a lot of money. I bet Rotten Tomatoes gave it the sixth biggest film of all time. Oh, man. That's so sad, right? Critical response, 79%, 6.8 out of 10. It was actually fairly bad. Congratulations, I'm sure you made money. The audience response was 28% because the critics are lying to you. And then the sequel, The Marvels. So The Marvels was cut way down. And let's see. Oh, wow. On a $274 million gross budget, they only made $206 million. I did not go see this movie. It was the first movie that I did not see because it's trash. I went and saw Captain Marvel. I don't like Brie Larson. I mean, I don't know her personally, but the things I've seen from her professionally, I think she's just not good at what she does, and she's very unlikable. And they were trying to make her a star, and boy, did she burn and spiral out. Get woke, go broke. Do what you want to do. I tried watching The Marvels on, I don't know where I was watching. I think it was on Netflix. No, it was on Disney or something. I was at it. We were at an Airbnb. No. We were at a hotel, and they had it. I said, all right, I'll watch this. And I just turned it off. I was like, this is really awful. It's 105 minutes long. It's super short. They were trying to just end it knowing that Brie Larson has burned down the MCU, and it was just a terrible choice. But I'll keep it simple for you. Pirates of the Caribbean, masterpiece of a film. I love that movie. That's the only one I like. The rest of them are all garbage. Dead Man's Chest is trash. At World's End is trash. Jeffrey Rush comes back. I don't care. It's all just trash. The last one they did, Dead Men Tell No Tales, was pretty cool. But the first one was great. So I remember when the commercials were out for the second film, I immediately went and saw it in theaters. I see a commercial, it's like the #1 movie in America, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. I'll say the movie sucked. I hated it. It was dumb. It was only the #1 movie because the first one was so good. Get this. The first movie made $1 billion of Captain Marvel because people liked the other MCU films. But it was so bad that no one wanted to see the sequel. And the sequel bombed. Get woke, go broke, you reap what you have sown. So Disney, it's time to wake up because this story and all the whinging is a tale of optimism, my friends. We are winning the culture war. These people are realizing this stuff's not fun. It's not funny. People hate it, and they won't spend money on it. So what are you going to do? Hey, a communist revolution can force these films to be made, and then you can force people to watch them, but they don't want to in the end. And so, at least in our country, sorry, it's not going to work. Let's see how Brave New World, what are they calling it? It was originally called Captain America New World Order. Now it's called Brave New World. I have a feeling it's not going to be so good. But I'll give it a shot. Because if it's anything like Winter Soldier, I will enjoy it. Harrison Ford plays Red Hulk. We'll see how that one goes. And I may go see it. I don't know. The MCU has become a spiraled, garbled, nonsense mess. And I don't know if they can save it. Rumors are that in the next Avengers movie, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom is going to nuke the multiverse and it's going to reset everything. Great. A House of M arc. But I'll wrap it up there because this one is a bit esoteric. If you're not big fans of comic books and Marvel, you may go over your head. But let me just say, in the end, ultimately, what I mean to say is get woke, go broke. Truer than ever. Smash the like button, share this video. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We will see you tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. And for everyone else, we'll jump in the chat because we still got about 10 or so minutes.